Aradhita Mataji, do you want to read the sloga and the translation?
Hare Krishna Mataji, sure.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yehi samsparshaja bhova dukkhayo evate adyantavanta kaunteya natishuramate buddhaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Purport: material sense pleasures are due to the contact of the material senses, which are all temporary because the body itself is temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of transcendental pleasures, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? In the Padma Purana, it is said, Ramante yogino nante satyanande chidatmani iti rama padena sao param brahma vidhiyate. The mystics derive unlimited transcendental pleasures from the absolute truth, and therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is also known as Rama. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also 551, it is said, Nayam deho deha pajamriloke kashtan kaman arhate vidbhujam ye tapo divyam putrakayena sattvam shuddhet yasmad brahma saukyam tvanantam. My dear sons, there's no reason to labor very hard for sense pleasure, while in this human form of life, such pleasures are available to the stool eaters, hogs. Rather, you should undergo penances in this life, by which your existence will be purified, and as a result, you will be able to enjoy unlimited transcendental bliss. Therefore, those who are true yogis or learned transcendentalists are not attracted by sense pleasures, which are the cause of continuous material existence. The more one is addicted to material pleasures, the more he is entrapped by material miseries. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Shall I read the French now?
Yes, please.
The purport too, or?
Just the translation.
Ok. L'homme intelligent ne s'adonne jamais au plaisir que procure le contact des sens avec les objets des sens. Il ne s'y complaît point, ô fils de Kunti, car s'ils ont un début, ils ont également une fin et sont porteurs de souffrance.
So Lord Krishna is giving a very important instruction in this verse.
Le Seigneur Krishna donne une instruction très importante dans ce verset.
He describes what is the source of misery. Where is our misery coming from?
Il décrit quelle est la source de misère. Il nous dit d'où vient la tristesse.
He said the misery comes from contact with the material senses.
Il nous dit que la misère vient du contact avec les sens matériels.
We're all thinking our senses will give us enjoyment, but Lord Krishna said actually the senses are the cause of misery.
Nous pensons que les sens matériels sont la source de plaisir, mais Krishna nous explique qu'en fait ils sont la source de misère.
And the nature of that material pleasure is it has a beginning and an end. It's very temporary.
Par sa nature, les plaisirs matériels ont un début et une fin.
Lord Krishna says, a wise person will not be in illusion about these things.
Krishna dit qu'une personne sage ne sera pas en illusion à propos de ces choses.
Real happiness does not just come from the senses.
Le vrai plaisir ne vient pas juste simplement des sens.
In the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes the one verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is spoken by Lord Rishabdev.
Dans l'explication, Krishna parle d'un verset du Bhagavatam qui est dit par le Seigneur Rishabhadev.
Lord Rishabdev was an incarnation of the personality of Godhead.
Le Seigneur Rishabhadev était une incarnation de Dieu, Krishna.
And he is often worshipped by people who practice the Jain religion.
Et il est en fait souvent vénéré par les personnes qui pratiquent la religion Jain.
So Lord Rishabdev had 100 sons, and he gave instructions, very important instructions to his 100 sons.
Donc, Rishabhadev avait 100 fils et il a donné de l'information et des instructions très importantes à ses 100 fils.
Srila Prabhupada often used to lecture on this verse.
Srila Prabhupada aimait souvent nous enseigner en partant de ce verset.
Lord Rishabdev was telling his sons that you should not just simply try for happiness, which is there even for the pigs which eat stew.
Le Seigneur Rishabhadev nous enseigne qu'il est mieux de ne pas rechercher ce plaisir matériel, que même les porcs qui mangent des excréments peuvent avoir.
The pig gets happiness when he eats, he fills his belly, he will eat all kinds of garbage.
Le porc éprouve du plaisir en mangeant toutes sortes de déchets et de choses dégueulasses.
A pig does not have any discrimination. He cannot distinguish between what is good and what is bad.
Le porc ne discrimine pas. Il n'a pas l'intelligence pour savoir ce qui est bon et ce qui est mauvais.
The pig lives in ignorance, trying to find happiness by eating horrible things.
Le porc vit en ignorance. Il essaye de trouver du plaisir en mangeant des choses ignobles.
And the pig also tries to enjoy sex. He is very happy to have sex, and he will have sex even with his own daughters, his own children.
Le porc pratique la sexualité avec... il éprouve beaucoup de plaisir aussi avec le sexe. Et même, il essaie de le faire avec ses propres enfants, filles.
So Lord Rishabdev told his sons, don't just simply try to get that kind of happiness.
Et donc, Prabhupada nous dit que Rishabhadev explique à ses fils de ne pas juste essayer de chercher ce genre de plaisir matériel.
If you want to get happiness, you have to first of all do some austerity.
Si vous voulez trouver la joie, il faut d'abord pratiquer de l'austérité.
Yeah, austerity means to purify our existence.
Cela veut dire, l'austérité, c'est de purifier notre existence.
Just like devotees of Krishna, they will do some austerity to purify themselves.
Par exemple, les dévots de Krishna vont pratiquer de l'austérité pour se purifier.
They will not eat meat or fish or eggs.
Ils ne mangent point de viande, de poisson ou d'œufs.
They will not drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes.
Ils ne boivent pas d'alcool et ne fument même pas de cigarettes.
They will practice to control the senses and to restrain from bad, sinful activities.
Ils vont essayer de contrôler leurs sens et de s'empêcher de faire des activités pécheresses.
So when they purify themselves, then they can experience real happiness.
Et donc, quand ils se purifient ainsi, ils pourront faire l'expérience de vrai plaisir, de vraie joie.
There's happiness. There is a happiness of the pigs, but there's also the happiness of the great yogi, of the great devotees. That's on a different kind of happiness.
Il y a le plaisir pour les cochons, les animaux, et il y a aussi un autre plaisir pour les yogis, les dévots du Seigneur, Krishna.
So we should consider what kind of happiness we want to have.
Alors, il nous faut considérer quel genre de joie nous aimerions.
Do you want eternal happiness, or do you just want very short happiness?
Est-ce que vous voulez le plaisir éternel ou un plaisir très court et temporaire?
Just like sometimes we want to go for a holiday and we will go to some place to enjoy.
Parfois, nous voudrions partir en vacances. Nous voulons aller à un endroit pour vraiment se faire plaisir.
Some people may go to Switzerland for holiday. They may go to Geneva.
Certains iront, par exemple, à Genève, en Suisse.
Some people live in Geneva every day, and they go for a holiday, they will go to some other place.
Il y en a qui habitent en Suisse, à Genève, justement, et par contre, qui partiront en vacances à un autre endroit.
And so the happiness of the material world is just the illusion of the mind that we're thinking, this is happy, I'm happy here.
Donc, cela veut dire que le plaisir dans le monde matériel est illusoire. C'est dans l'esprit, je suis heureux ici ou ici.
We go there, we go to Switzerland, how long we can stay there? If we stay there a long time, we will become bored. We will want to go some other place.
Si nous partons en vacances en Suisse, eh ben, combien de temps pourrons-nous rester ici avant de commencer à s'ennuyer et de penser que le plaisir est ailleurs?
So happiness of the senses is like that. It is very temporary.
Donc, le plaisir des sens est ainsi qu'il est très temporaire.
Material world is full of objects to give us temporary happiness.
Le monde matériel est bourré d'objets qui nous donnent le plaisir temporaire.
But if we want real happiness, we have to look within. We have to find out the soul.
Mais si nous voulons la vraie joie, le vrai bonheur, il nous faut regarder à l'intérieur, vers l'âme.
We have to awaken the higher consciousness to understand the soul and then to take pleasure in the soul.
Nous devons comprendre nous devons avoir une conscience de l'esprit élevé vers l'âme et trouver le bonheur de l'âme.
So we understand there's material happiness, there is also spiritual happiness.
Alors, comprenons qu'il y a le bonheur matériel, mais il y a aussi le bonheur spirituel.
Material happiness is just like garbage. It is not real happiness. It is just an illusion, a dream of happiness.
Le bonheur matériel n'est pas réel. Il est comme un rêve.
But spiritual happiness lasts forever. Just like we are chanting Hare Krishna. We chant Hare Krishna every day. And the more we chant, the more we feel happy.
Mais la joie et le bonheur spirituel, c'est tous les jours. Il est éternel. Quand nous chantons Hare Krishna, nous sommes dans le vrai bonheur.
We want everyone to experience real happiness.
Nous voulons que tout le monde jouisse du vrai bonheur.
So this is why devotees want to go everywhere. They go to every town and village. They go to every village in Switzerland and they teach people to chant the holy name of Krishna.
C'est pour cela que les dévots du Seigneur vont partout, par exemple en Suisse, pour enseigner aux gens comment chanter les saints noms du Seigneur, pour leur donner le bonheur.
There are many people all over the world. They're waiting to hear the holy name of Krishna. We want to find them and give them the holy name and get them to chant, bring them to real spiritual consciousness.
Il y a des gens sur toute la planète qui attendent simplement de connaître le plaisir de passer dans le monde spirituel. Il y a des gens qui attendent juste de savoir comment chanter Hare Krishna.
Okay, is there any question on this? No questions, we'll go on to the next verse.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Tanmay Prabhu, yeah. Okay, it's already the next verse. Ramya Mataji, do you want to read it?
Yes, Vaishnavi, thank you. Saknoti haiva ya sotam paraksai sarira vimoshata kama krodha bhavam vegam sayukta sashukti nare. Translation: before giving up this present body, if one is able to tolerate the urge of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he is well situated and is happy in this world. Puppet. Tanmay. Thank you. If one wants to make steady progress on the path of self-realization, he must try to control the forces of the material senses. There are the forces of talk, forces of anger, forces of mind, forces of the stomach, forces of the genitals, and forces of the tongue. One who is able to control the forces of all these different senses and the mind is called Govami or Swami. This Govami lives strictly controlled lives and forego altogether the forces of the senses. Material desires, when unsatiated, generated anger, and thus the mind, eyes, and chest became agitated. Therefore, one must practice to control them before one gives up this material body. One who can do this is understood to be self-realized and is thus happy in the state of self-realization. It is the duty of this transcendentalist to try genuinely to control desire and anger. Hare Krishna.
Desire? Oh, you're French. Yeah.
Celui qui, avant de quitter son corps, parvient à tolérer les impulsions des sens et à juguler la force de la concupiscence et de la colère est bien situé. Il est heureux en ce monde.
You can read the purport.
Ok. Celui qui désire résolument progresser sur le sentier de la réalisation spirituelle doit s'efforcer de maîtriser les forces qui exercent sur lui ses sens matériels, telles les impulsions de la parole, de la colère, du mental, des organes génitaux, de l'estomac et de la langue. On donne à celui qui parvient à leur résister le nom de Swami ou Goswami. Le Goswami vit de façon réglée et s'abstient de répondre aux puissants désirs des sens. Quand ils sont inassouvis, les désirs matériels engendrent la colère qui agite le mental, les yeux et la poitrine. Il faut donc apprendre à les contrôler avant que ne vienne le moment de quitter le corps. Celui qui y parvient atteint la réalisation spirituelle et connaît le bonheur qu'elle procure. Il va du devoir du spiritualiste de tout faire pour triompher de la convoitise et de la colère.
All right. So Lord Krishna is giving more important instructions here that we have to control these two things, desire and anger.
Krishna donne encore des instructions très importantes ici, qu'il nous faut contrôler le désir et la colère.
The nature of the mind is to desire. We want things. We desire to have more.
La nature de votre esprit, c'est de désirer. Nous voulons des choses, nous en voulons de plus en plus.
One may have some money. He may think, I don't have enough money. I want more money.
Quand nous avons de l'argent, nous pouvons penser que nous n'avons pas d'argent, et pas assez d'argent, et que nous en voudrions encore plus.
One may have a nice family with a nice wife or husband. We may think, no, I want to have another wife or husband.
Quand nous avons une famille avec une femme ou mari et des enfants, nous pourrions penser que nous voulons encore une femme et encore des enfants.
So it's very important that we can control the mind, because when the mind is not controlled, then there will be more and more desires in the mind.
Il est très important de pouvoir contrôler son esprit, car quand l'esprit n'est pas contrôlé, nous pouvons avoir beaucoup de désirs dans notre esprit.
And because we have a lot of desires in our mind and we cannot fulfill all of the desires, then we get angry.
Quand nous avons beaucoup d'esprit dans notre tête, mais que nous ne pouvons pas les assouvir, alors nous devenons énervés.
Sometimes when we do, we are able to satisfy our desires, then we want more, we become greedy for more.
I'm sorry, what?
When we can fulfill our desires and satisfy our desires, then we want more, we become greedy for more.
Quand nous sommes en mesure d'assouvir nos désirs, eh bien, nous pouvons devenir égoïstes et en vouloir encore plus.
So it's very important that we learn how to control these urges which come in the mind.
Alors, il est très important d'apprendre à contrôler ces besoins qui sont dans notre esprit.
We want to be happy in the world, we have to control the mind. If the mind is not controlled, we'll never be happy.
Pour être heureux dans le monde, il nous faut contrôler nos désirs, cet esprit. Sinon, nous ne trouverons jamais le bonheur sans contrôler toutes ces impulsions.
Desire comes into the mind. We desire, and we desire endlessly. We want more and more all of the time. We're never satisfied.
C'est le désir qui vient dans l'esprit. Et le désir veut toujours plus. Nous ne pourrons jamais être satisfaits tant que nous laissons le désir prendre le dessus.
This desire is just simply lust. It's just simply the desire to enjoy the material energy.
Ce désir de profiter de l'énergie matérielle, let me find the word here. I think c'est la concupiscence.
Yeah, so lust.
Yeah,
lust.
well, I know, but c'est le désir charnel.
Lust is the root of our desire. From our desire, then if we get what we want, we want more, we become greedy. And if we don't get what we want, we become angry.
Oh yes, actually it's here. La racine de nos désirs, c'est la concupiscence.
So how to train the mind? We have to train the mind by chanting Hare Krishna mantra.
Par cette concupiscence, nous avons la colère. Et donc, il faut contrôler ces désirs. Et nous pouvons contrôler notre esprit en chantant les saints noms du Seigneur, Hare Krishna.
And we have to control the mind, and we have to train the senses also to control the senses. We have to become a controller of the senses.
Il faut contrôler notre esprit et il faut aussi contrôler nos sens matériels.
So one person is a Goswami. Go means the senses, and Swami means the master. So Goswami means he's the master of the senses.
Alors, quand une personne est un Goswami, la partie Go veut dire les sens et la partie Swami veut dire le maître. Donc, ça veut dire le maître des sens.
But there's another word, Godas. Godas means a servant. Go means the senses, and Das means a servant. So he's not the master, he's the servant of the senses.
Un autre mot, c'est Godas. Et Das veut dire servant. Et donc, le Godas veut dire le servant de nos sens.
So we should not be Godas. If the Godas, he will go into hell. He will go into the lower stages of life.
Et donc, le Godas, il ne faut pas être celui-là, parce qu'il va aller dans des parties très négatives de la vie, très basses.
If one is a Godas, if one is simply serving his senses, then he will be put into the body of a dog into his next life.
Si quelqu'un est un Godasa, il va être mis dans un corps très dégradé dans sa prochaine vie, tel un chien.
So we should understand this principle of yoga, to control the senses. And of all the senses, the most difficult is the tongue. To control the tongue is very difficult.
Il nous faut comprendre ce principe du yoga, de contrôler les sens. C'est très important. Et le sens le plus difficile à contrôler, c'est notre langue.
To control the tongue, we use the tongue for two things, to taste and to speak.
Nous utilisons notre langue pour deux choses, pour goûter et pour parler.
We should use the tongue, therefore, to taste Krishna prasadam, food offered to Krishna, and we should speak about Krishna by chanting his holy names.
Pour pouvoir contrôler notre langue, il faut utiliser la langue pour parler de Krishna et pour goûter la nourriture offerte à Krishna, qui s'appelle le prasadam.
Now, these two activities will help us to conquer over the mind and the material desires.
Ces deux activités nous aideront à conquérir nos désirs matériels, même les désirs dans l'esprit.
We know many people have a lot of trouble controlling their anger. They get angry very easily.
Il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont de la peine à contrôler leur colère. Ils se mettent en colère très, très facilement.
If we don't get what we want, we get very angry.
Si nous n'avons pas ce que nous voudrions, nous énervons beaucoup.
We should not be so attached. We have to become detached. We have to understand we are not the controller.
Il ne faut pas être attaché. Nous sommes très attachés. Il nous faut comprendre que ce n'est pas nous qui contrôlons.
We live by the grace of Krishna and we die by the grace of Krishna.
C'est par la grâce de Krishna seulement que nous sommes en vie et que nous mourrons.
The devotee has to surrender to Krishna, and then it can be peaceful.
Alors, le dévot doit s'abandonner à Krishna et ainsi il sera en paix.
If we become angry, it means we've not surrendered to Krishna.
Si nous sommes en colère, cela veut dire que nous abandonnons pas au désir de Krishna.
We have to know Krishna is the controller. We are the servants. We're not the master.
Il faut se rendre compte que nous sommes les servants de Krishna et que lui est le maître.
So before we give up this material body, before we can leave this material world, we have to conquer over the mind and the senses.
Avant de quitter ce monde matériel, il faut conquérir notre esprit et nos sens.
So we ask all of you, very carefully, chant Hare Krishna and don't become angry. Control and control the mind and desires.
Alors, nous demandons à chacun de se contrôler, ne pas de partir en colère.
Then we will be happy in this world.
Ainsi serons-nous heureux en se contrôlant.
Do you understand, everyone? Everyone can understand?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. We have to chant Hare Krishna and we have to remember that Lord Krishna is the controller, right, Guru Maharaj?
Yes.
Then we won't get angry. My family members tell that I get angry very easily.
Really? Oh.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
And you're supposed to be a devotee of Krishna.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So you're not allowed to get angry so easily.
I have a small question. Sorry.
You should apologize to them when you get angry.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Fall at their feet. Tell them, I'm very fallen. Please forgive me.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, yes.
So humility is very helpful. If you're humble.
Maharaj, I had a small question. Actually, it's more pertaining to the first one you read, the 22. But actually, I was just thinking before the class, actually, without having anything to do with this, that oftentimes, including myself, I'm not going not red hot in my Krishna consciousness, where I will spend most of my time with people who are non-devotees and who do all those kinds of non-devotee activities, and just listen to let's say normal music. And so is there any what type of urgency should I give to Krishna consciousness? How could I advance in a way where I realize that it could be important? Like spiritual life, I will spend, like, most of the things I say do have something to do with spirituality, but it's kind of like maybe not so Krishna oriented enough.
Yes. Well, you have to be careful about associating with non-devotees. Because when you associate with people who are not Krishna conscious and who don't practice any regulated principles, then it's very contaminating on your own mind and consciousness.
Okay.
They will do things which are, you know, they think are normal, but
Yeah.
they're actually karmic. They're full of karma, and they bring a lot of karmic reactions on people.
It rubs off.
Yeah.
Kind of forget about Krishna myself.
Oh yeah.
Like the devotion, like not so devotional anymore.
Right. Yeah.
The relationship, everything should be in relationship with him, and kind of loses itself.
Prabhupada said Krishna consciousness depends 98% on association. So you have to get association with Krishna conscious people. And it may be Krishna conscious people, or it may be simply Krishna conscious material. For example, reading books like Bhagavad Gita by Prabhupada, or it may be chanting Krishna's name. Maybe you chant japa yourself. Somehow or other, you have to get association which is good, and you have to get away from the bad association. Because the bad association is going to have its effect on you. It's going to pollute your mind and consciousness.
Yeah. Can make up for a lot of big loss.
Oh yeah.
Okay, thanks. Should I translate real quick?
Yeah.
Like summarize. Ma question était si nous vivons une vie un petit peu spirituelle, nous sommes dans la conscience de Krishna, mais pas autant que ça. Nous passons beaucoup de temps avec des non-dévots et nous vivons toutes les choses qu'ils vivent. À part, nous pratiquons les 4 règles principales, mais nous passons beaucoup de temps juste à parler parfois de spiritualité, mais sans forcément que ce soit chaque fois la conscience de Krishna. Est-ce que c'est mauvais? Oui, ça peut être très mauvais, car les habitudes des autres personnes déteignent sur nous-mêmes. Et donc, Srila Prabhupada nous explique que la conscience de Krishna dépend à 98% de l'association avec qui nous passons du temps, avec qui nous sommes. Et donc, il faut faire un effort pour être avec des personnes en conscience de Krishna. Et il faut, si aussi nous devons passer du temps à lire les livres de Krishna et chanter les saints noms, et cela complète notre conscience de Krishna. Ça peut faire une très grande perte de ne pas être à fond dans la conscience de Krishna, car il y a beaucoup d'activités pécheresses hors de cela. Very sinful to anything else is kind of sinful.
Yes. Yeah, you're getting into sin.
Okay. Even if it's like like spirituality, like saying like 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 kind of like everything's one and God like type spirituality, like on the internet, it's not really like, it's like for people to like it and stuff, and it's not really
yeah,
kind of like colorful, like just like to say someone has spirituality, and it's like,
oh yeah, people talk about spirituality in a very light way. They think, the guy said, oh, I have a very spiritual relationship with my girlfriend, it's not really spiritual at all. But,
yeah, like oftentimes there's drugs involved, or just basically just not, Krishna is not included.
Right. Yeah. It's
also sex oftentimes even described as being spiritual when
it's totally mundane, gross.
Yeah, it's pretty much the opposite.
Yeah, it's just the opposite. Yeah. Yeah, we have these illusions, you know, what is spiritual, you know.
It's mostly bogus. We could call it like a tourist trap.
Yeah. We cheat ourselves, you know, we don't like to admit, you know. And so we have we pretend to ourselves that, oh, this is spiritual, Prabhu.
Yeah, cheating business, like they say.
Yeah, we cheat ourselves. Okay, we're going to chant Hare Krishna now, everyone. Everybody ready?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Yes.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
So you take care.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. You too take care.